Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about working with different types of resources. This has also been covered in the Unit 4, which is Testing Android Applications. Myself, Dr. Shirisha, Associate Professor, MLR Institute of Technologies, Dept of CSE. So, how to work with different types of resources. In the previous session, we have seen how to use the resources either in code or either in the application using the XML. So there are many more items which you use to build your good application. Apart from coding for the application, you take care of various other resources. What are the other resources? Bitmaps, colors, layouts, user interface strings, animations, etc. Images or MP4 files for getting audio or getting video files generated. So we have seen a video file example also. So how to play a sample video application in my previous session, you can go and refer that. So that we have put it in the raw folder and we have drawable folder for putting an image. Okay. So whatever the examples that we have seen so far, those all programs are using your resources to place the values in them and extracting them either in the code or extracting them either using the XML. So these resources are always maintained separately in the subdirectories under the resource directory. As I have shown you, in the resource directory only, we have all the different values. Say drawable values, bitmaps, XML, XML layouts, etc. Or you can either create a directory called raw also. Okay. So these are being used so far. Now, my project app manifest file Java resources. So this is how the resource is organized in the Android Studio. You have drawable layout. In the drawable folder, we will be putting the images. In the layouts, we'll put the activities, XML. And like two different activities. Values, any other values like strings or colors, etc. can be placed in this values. So here there's a directory of resource type where you have anim. Suppose if you have anim, XML files that define the property animations. Anim folder can be created where these animations, sources, and whatever it has to affect the application can be defined in this. And they are saved in the resources anim folder and accessed as r.anim.xyz like that. What are the value you're giving? So this is the XML files need to be stored in the anim folder. Now how you are defining? All the properties of the animations are defined in the XML folder, say its height, say its width or the name, or the file that is need to be extracted for affecting that animation, any colors or backgrounds or spinning, okay, creating a list, anything can be defined here, and they are saved in the resource folder. Resource/anim is a path that you are going to use, and how to access this? You access it using r.anim.the name. Similarly, color defines the state list of color. It states a list of colors that have been there and possible in the Android Studio. They are saved in the resources color and accessed from r.color. Similarly, drawable r.drawable and resources drawable folder. And this drawable folder will have what? Images. What type of images? With the extension .png, with the extension .jpg, with the extension .gif. Or XML files compiled into bitmaps, state list, shapes, animation drawable, anything that can be used in the drawable. Similarly, if you are using layout under the resources, these layouts may have multiple XML files that can be used for your application. Say for instance, if you wanted to use 4 different XML files, all those XML files will be stored where? In the layouts only. So how to access it? r.layout.class. And similarly, how to save resources under resources layout folder. It is used to define the user interface layout. That means XML files. Next, menu. Defines application menu such as options menu, context menu or sub menu, and these are saved, and every resource folders are accessed using r dot something. Okay. Similarly, raw folder how to do is go to res folder, right click. Okay. When you right click on it, you will be having create directory. So create a directory with the name raw. If you create the directory with the name raw, so arbitrary files to save in their raw form. Okay, then animated files or video files, whatever you wanted to put, you can put it here. Now you need to call resources open raw resource method with the resource id. r.raw.file name is used to extract or access that particular raw file. Similarly, values. Values may have arrays.xml, integers, bools, colors, strings. So we have seen colors and strings. In between the resource tag, either all these arrays or strings or whatever need to define, they will be defined in between those tags. Okay, either colors or strings or anything. So these are few we have here. Arrays.xml, integers.xml. Arrays.xml for the resource arrays accessed from r.array class. Similarly, integers r.integers. Bools.xml for accessing boolean values r.bool class. Colors r.color class. Dimensions is nothing but dimension values. How many number of rows and how many number of columns, like that. r.diamond is a path to access it. Strings r.string class, styles r.style class. So these are all the different XML files that can be stored in the values folder. Okay. Similarly, XML arbitrarily they can be read at runtime calling resource.getXML. Now here open raw resource is used. Similarly, resource.getXML is used for accessing your XML file which is stored in the layouts folder. So these are all the configuration objects that are need to be taken care before publishing your application. So alternative resources. Alternative resources means, as you can see in the Android application, in the resource folder, we have seen only few drawable, layout, resources, layout, values, XML, like that. But alternative resources talks about some that support specific device configuration. For example, if you wanted to include alternative device resources with a different screen resolution, then at runtime, Android detects the current device configuration, loads the appropriate resources for your application. So, in the resources, whatever the drawable folder is there, if you wanted to change the resolution to, say, horizontally, then give those resolutions in the drawable folder. So it will affect here. So your application will be displayed in this resolution. Okay, like that, alternative resources, alternative adjustments can also be done and also be customized in your resource folder. To specify configuration specific alternatives to set the resources, create a new directory, resources name in the form of resource name, configuration qualifier. Resource name will be any of the resources like layout, drawable, etc. Qualifier will specify an individual configuration for which these resources are to be used. Individual configurations can be called as a single qualifier. You can check official documentation also. Complete list of qualifiers for different type of resources. Now save the respective alternative resource in the new directory. What is the new directory? Raw. Resources only. So these resource file must be named exactly same as a default resource name. So this resource files, whatever you are storing here, should be equivalent to default resource files. These files will have content specific to the alternative. Image file name will be same, but the high resolution screen, its resolution will be high. So like that, necessary changes can be done using the alternative resources. So here is an example which specifies the images for a default screen, alternative images for the high screen resolution. There are two screens. For such screen, for example, for this screen, for example. Okay. So where we have to talk about resources. So in the resource folder, we have drawable icon background, and also we have drawable HDPI. That means we are talking about this one. This drawable folder is basically talking about a basic one. This drawable HDPI is talking about the changes, alternative resources that we have added using drawable HDPI. So here different icon background, here different icon background with the different resolutions. Okay. This is how you can affect the screen. So accessing the resources during your application development, you need to access defined resources either in your code or the XML files. This we have seen in the previous session how to do that. So this section will talk about the resources in both the scenarios. So how to access? In your Android application, if you compile your application, R class gets generated. That we know. Your app tool will be generating this R class, which contains resource IDs in the resource directory. You can use R class to access a resource using the subdirectory. That means what? R dot and resource name or directory resource ID. So here resource drawable image PNG. What is this? You're accessing my image which is stored in resource folder, in the drawable folder. What is the image that we have? My image. Now how do you access this? By using this path. Set a image view. How to set a image view? You are taking a component, class image view, and create an object using find view by ID or dot resource dot ID dot my image view. Okay, this can be accessed, this can be set, this my image view can be set by using set image resource. What is the source? Source is r dot drawable dot my image. That only we have given. Okay, one example. Now, here the first line of code make use of r dot id dot get image view defined with id. Okay, in the layout. Second line is makes use of r dot drawable dot my image to get the image with the name my image available in the drawable subdirectory. So this is the code that we have used in code, accessing resources in code. The same thing how we do in using the XML. So in the XML, we are using resources, values, strings. So here we have used some string and we have defined this where in the resources, in the values, you will be having string dot XML. Go there and do the changes. Okay. So you can set by using in code how you can do the same. Go there, text view class, message text view, one object. Now find view by RD. Now r dot id dot message that we have to access. Okay. Now how do you assign the value to this? By using the set text. Get text to retrieve, set text to assign some value to the resource. Now this resource text view is being assigned using the set text. What is that? Hello. That is the name. By using the name only we are giving. So this is the resource. String is a resource type. Hello is a resource name. What is the name? Name equal to what is given? Hello. So that hello we are passing here. So this is how you can extract in code by using the XML. You can make use of set text to set the values. Now this is one more example which is talking about strings.xml that we have seen, color and string. And you can use these resources by in the edit text directly in the XML you can give or directly in the values. So this will be done in the resources, values, strings. Here you are doing the changes and this is in activity underscore main.xml. So in your XML file, in the edit text, whatever the properties or the attributes you are given, So those are being affected. So either in this way you can do, either in this way you can do. In this way if you are doing, you have to give Android text color. What is this text color? It is an attribute name which is there in the edit text. But if you don't want to use so many attributes in the component, then directly go to the values and under the resources parent tag, you can define the subtags like color, strings or whatever dimensions, whatever you wanted to give. Okay. Similarly, Android, if you wanted to pass a string hello, what we are doing here, we are giving a string element. Under that, name is defined, value is defined. These are the names, these are the values. That is what we are giving here, text, string, hello. So this is a resource type and resource value. So both the ways you can do it. So how to access a particular resource, either using the resource code and resource in the code and programming also you can see. So in the example, if you wanted to see this, so this is a program where it shows you how to send a wallpaper to the screen. So this is a general code that is defined using a linear layout, image view and button we have used in the linear layout. So this is using scale, type, center and the source drawable folder is given. So if you are giving drawable img, you should have the img here, img.png, whatever. So you excluding that extension, you are going to give in the image folder, excluding your extension. So here if you give img, you have to give img only. No need of giving img.png. So what is this image? You can see here. Okay. Similarly, MLRIT.jpg, if you wanted to use it here, you can change this to the name without extension. Exclude the extension and you can give it. So what is this image? This is a logo. So such changes can be done in code, either in the XML part along with which has to affect your resources folder also. Similarly, I'll change it back to img. Similarly, this activity underscore main is a program that you are talking about the linear layout. This should be stored in the activity underscore main.xml in the resources in the layout folder. So resources dot layout dot activity main. Okay. Similarly, bitmap, your icon launcher. So what is that icon that you are using for your application? So round icon you are using. Next, values. Similarly, in the values, you have colors.xml, strings.xml. So what is the string that we are going to use? That is given. Similarly, if you want to make changes in any either of the code, so here if you wanted to change IC launcher, if you wanted to extract this and use it, so what we are giving? Android : round icon @mipmap. What type of icon it is? Mipmap. And what is the name? IC launcher round. IC launcher round. That is being used. So that we are going to set in the Android manifest file. So why I am showing all this is, these are the few examples of how your resource folders are being coded in the code, how they are programmed into the code. Okay. If you take XML, this is the basic code that has been defined for your XML full backup content. If you wanted to take the backup or not, so that is being taken by using this code. So such things need to be customized. If you wanted to customize, you can make use of resources with all these folders. And similarly, we can talk about themes. If you take theme.xml, what type of theme that your activity should be used? Like if you take a wallpaper, your this status bar will be having some color. Your lower title bar or your status bar will be having some color, your title bar should be having some color. You will customize in that way. So what type of theme that you have to use, that can be used here. Okay. Daylight or some light theme or the dark theme, like that you can customize using this themes.xml. So how completely, if you wanted to define a new resources, then you can go here and create a directory. So if whatever the directory name, if you wanted to give raw, so just give as raw, hit enter, you will get a raw folder. Now what is raw? Raw is again one more resource in the resource folder. So this raw folder can be placed with some video files or multimedia files. What are the multimedia files you wanted to take? Especially MP4 can be put it in this raw folder. For images we are using drawable. For XML we are using layout. For round icons or for different clip paths we are using bitmaps. The values we are using strings and colors or arrays, dimensions. Any other, if you wanted to affect with the help of the XML files, then you have to use these values. Similarly, XML files. So, hope you all understood how to access the resources, how to affect the resources with the help of programming, either in the code or changing the attribute values in the XML also can affect the changes to be made in the application by using your resources. Hope you all understood. Thank you all.